The movie you're making me watch today is Godfather, part all of them, 1, 2, and 3. Thanks to Schwartz spending his dying hours, his waking hours, searching the interwebs to find a streaming service that had all 3 of them, and I still rented one anyway.
You're welcome.
What do you have to say about yourself, Schwartz, or about these movies? Choose as many words as you want.
Well, I have one word, and I think it's the best word, which is operatic.
Yeah, literally and figuratively, I guess.
You just watched literally the last scene of the trilogy, and you're like, I got a word.
No, I mean I was thinking about that the whole time. It was told like a Shakespearean opera.
Shakespearean wrote operas?
Shakespeare did not write operas, bro.
But if he did, this would be what it would be.
I would go Shakespearean, for sure.
That was my word for Seven Samurai. You guys stop stealing my shit.
I'm not stealing shit. This
Different
is more
movie
This
doesn't
is
count.
definitely more Shakespearean than Seven Samurai.
Actually, you're right, because one of the words I wrote down was tragic, which is
Thanks.
sort of in the lines
Thanks
of
for
Shakespeare.
confirming my rightness.
You're right.
What happened? Hold on. My computer wants to restart.
What?
Cancel.
And
What's your word, Jake?
I guess tragic or iconic was another one. So I'll
How
do
about
2
iconic
because
and
there's
tragic?
3 movies. No, that's stupid. Iconic, but also tragic.
My word when I
Anthony?
watching the first one was ruthless. This movie,
Yeah.
the first one was ruthless. I mean, they were all ruthless, really.
Yeah.
I think that's a good word for all of them. But also, my favorite word was vafangu. So I wrote that one down too. Vafangu.
Gabagool?
Vafangu. And
There
then she
were-
goes, vafangu you.
What part was that?
Is in the first one. I think, I don't know, one of the couples is fighting. I don't know if it's Pacino and his wife or the Godfather and his wife or Sonny and his wife. I think it's Sonny and his wife, or they're
right.
screaming at each other.
That sounds right.
And she goes, you gotta do this. And he goes, Avafangu. And she goes, Avafangu you.
I'm just glad I heard Gabagool because I just recently watched The Sopranos like within the last year.
Oh, I heard a lot of words that I was like, I didn't know actual people use these words. I thought this was a joke to make fun of Italian people, like vafangu and gabagoo. I honestly thought those were like slurs to Italian people. I didn't know those were real words.
Nope, they're deli meats.
God, I'm done with it. I'm over this. I'm over this series, and that's why I think I needed. That's why I said I think maybe it would be better to have some time go by before we talked about it, because right now I'm just fucking over it, and I don't even want to think about it. But you know, whatever. Vafangu.
No, that makes sense. Sometimes it does help for like let it sit in a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it later. I'm sure.
Well,
Maybe I'll raise them up in the ranks.
We just watched 9 hours of fucking movie about the same goddamn thing, so I get what you're saying.
The same thing. Oh my God. It was like watching the same movie 3 times in a row. The same shit. The same songs, the same parades, the same weddings, the fucking funerals.
There was always like a big event that opened every one. I'm like, damn, they're doing this every time.
Events. Yeah. The parade where there's a parade going on. I can't wait for whoever to get shot right now. Or there's a wedding. I can't wait for somebody to disrespect somebody. Fangu.
Now you're just making fun of Italian people.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sick of Italian weddings. I'm sick of Italian funerals. I'm sick of Italian parties, and I'm sick of Italian music. I'll tell you that much. I have no problem against Italian people. I'm just sick of the culture right now because what it was forced down my throat this weekend. And that's fine. Schwartz wants to go back to Sicily after watching it, so he had an opposite feeling.
I do, man.
Have you ever been to Sicily to go back?
Yeah, I've been to Sicily. I went there in 2018.
Nice.
Yeah.
Visit family?
No, it was for a TV show.
Oh, you don't have family in Sicily?
I don't. Well, I might
Yeah,
have.
that'd be pretty
my
nice.
lineage might trace back there. My mom's last name is Colicchio, so it's pretty damn Italian.
Is there a town called Colecchio? Because from my understanding, that's how people get their names.
That's what I
No,
heard.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
From now on, you call yourself Vincenzo Corleone.
I don't know how to say that other one, so here's a different one.
I'm glad you watched this movie, these trilogy, Anthony, because as a person who is in the business and as a person who enjoys movies, you have to at least see these once, at least the first two.
And this
Now-
falls into the category of that. I'm glad I watched them because I never would have, and I don't. And now that I've seen them, I don't want to watch them again. But it's a good thing I watched them because people are like, "These are the best movies ever."
I think there was a lot in these movies that really lasts the test of time too. Whether it be the fact that it made Pacino a star, he was only in one movie before these movies. How it reinvigorated Marlon Brando, won him a second Oscar, and he kind of had a career resurgence after it.
Marlon Brando had one good scene in Godfather. The one good scene is when he was like talking to he was talking to everyone. I think it was like in the middle. I don't know. He was in a meeting and he was talking to everyone, and that was the one time I was like, "All right, this is good. I like this." Every other time, it's just him in the corner going, "No, take him away, kill him, whack him."
It's very subdued, yeah.
And the fact that like all I knew about this movie was oh, Marlon Brando's the best ever. It's like, yeah, this wasn't his best ever for sure.
No, I'd say Waterfront on the Waterfront is like a better example of his acting. I never saw Streetcar Named Desire, but on the Waterfront, he's really good in.
He won an Oscar for On the Waterfront.
I just noticed you had the taco Bigfoot in the background.
Oh,
And is that the belt from the cart from the champ?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did some redecorating.
Genius.
Got some more floor space, switched the bed around. I got a yoga space now.
Oh,
Great.
cool. Yoga space. And the taco Bigfoot is best thing ever. All right, sorry.
All good. Mafangul. Yeah.
So should I just recount what this is about real quick? So
yes, you should. In case someone doesn't know what The
Godfather
Godfather is that is listening to us.
I didn't know. I mean, go ahead.
But I'll do it quick. It's easy. It's really easy. The Godfather trilogy is about the Corleone family's rise and fall. Boom, done. That's what it's about.
It's about Pacino.
Whoa. Yeah. It's definitely about the
Pacino's
Michael's
rise
journey
and fall.
more than anyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also still about Vito because both movies are fairly parallel with characters, but it's more about Michael. Like, especially the overall trilogy is definitely more about Michael. And the first movie is Michael's like transition to the dark side, more or less, which I like.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the first movie is that Michael really, really didn't want to do what he had to end up doing. Like he was so against it and so like his hatred towards it. Like he loved his father, respected his father, but he didn't like his father. You know what I mean? Like he hated what he did. And Sonny, his brother, was like just a dumber version of his dad. You know what I mean? He had the same tenacity. Like I feel like Vito had the same tenacity as Sonny. He was just smarter and kept his feelings in check way more. And Fredo was cool. Fredo was fun.
Fredo was annoying.
Fredo was kind of like a little bitch.
Yeah, but he was a good character to have involved in that family.
Everyone's fucking balding. Fredo, like, why you shave the head, dude? You got hat. It's like where my headphones are right now is his forehead. Like at that point, that's what I would have if I grew my hair out. I would have the Fredo.
Yeah. The Jack Nicholson.
The Jack Nicholson. You know what? That's a good fucking mob movie.
The Jack Nicholson?
No, fucking Departed. So much of this just makes me want. I'm like, oh man, this is Scorsese. Like, I could see Scorsese watching these movies and be like, I could do this better, and then did it better.
Well, the biggest difference is these movies were like fiction. These were like romanticized fairy tale versions of gangsters where they live in big houses and they deal with big things and they dress in nice clothes and they hang out at parties. You know what I mean? Like this is a fictionalized like version of gangsters, whereas Scorsese's movies are what I feel like really it is. It's street people doing fucked up shit, making money, and having fun. You know what I mean? I think that's the difference.
Is The Godfather not based on any reality?
It was based on a book written by Mario Puzo, who just created it all out of his head.
But yeah, none of those, like the Corleone family wasn't like a real
that's not
family
real.
or anything like that.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it had to have been based on like who was Puzo? Like, was he from Sicily?
He was just an
Did he
author
fucking-
from the Bronx.
So
Some
none of
Italian
this
author.
is based on any truthness.
Well, there's aspects of it that are like Mo Green was a real person. I'm pretty sure. Who was the dude in the second one? The old man.
They
Hyman
were talking
Roth.
about the
I'm pretty sure Hyman Roth
the
was a real
Lucchese
person.
family. That's a real family. Wasn't
But the Corleone family and the story of them is all made up. It's all fake.
it?
Yeah, I
They
could
just-
I could see it being based on actual events because I guess like the third one was like had a lot to do with like controversy going on with the all the whole the religious stuff like
The
I guess-
Vatican.
yeah, the Vatican thing.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
guess
that
there
was
was
the
some
most interesting
controversy
part
back
of all the
Vatican.
movies.
Yeah.
I think that was the coolest like plot line of the family trying to get involved with something, and but I don't think that was the best part. I mean the second movie is my favorite because of the parallel story that it tells about Vito. I think the flashbacks with De Niro are the best parts of all the movies. That to me was the coolest. Actually, De Niro won his first Oscar for that. Really, won Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah. I did like how they told that. Like it was a way to do a sequel and a prequel at the same time.
Mhm.
But I also thought, why didn't they just do two different movies?
Why did they
Because
do two
then they
different
would have been-
movies?
They
And
didn't
why
have to
did
be so long?
why didn't Brando play young Brando?
He's too old.
Didn't he
could-
old himself up?
Yeah, he was super. He had like a ton of makeup on to make him.
But he
look like
can't
did
play. He
before.
can't play a 25-year-old. There's no fucking way. De
Yeah,
Niro
that's
was
true.
like 25 years old when he made that movie.
I guess it was a little more age appropriate. Yeah, Brando
Yeah.
would have been probably like 50, or I don't even know at that point. I'm just
Yeah,
guessing.
he could never play a 25-year-old.
Yeah,
felt like I was watching
he did
Boyhood
hold
again.
himself up. That's a good comparison, really, because it was
No,
a
it's
very
not.
long overarching story told. One was just normal life, and one was gangster life.
Yeah, but you know what the difference is? This movie when it came out and for what it did, it represented like a movie, like movies of back in the day, like David Lean movies or big, huge like.
No, yeah, this was definitely an
Hollywood
iconic big film. If
Yeah.
we're comparing Boyhood, which is really
Yeah. Well,
Boyhood's more of an indie when this is like a big Hollywood, big time studio movie.
Yeah. This
I'm just
movie
talking
made a
about
lot
we watched fucking 10 years of people grow up, and
Yes,
by
yeah.
the end I was like,
100%.
okay,
Right.
See, I think this movie's got I think this trilogy has an amazing ending because the whole time it's just about like people doing bad shit, but everybody pays the price for it. Like everybody who deserves to get what's coming to them in these movies basically does. I mean, that's what's cool. Even Michael, like he started out as a great person, became a fucking terrible person, and then he pays for it in the end with all the shit that happens to him, and especially his daughter dying.
Everyone
Like,
fucking
no,
dies.
I mean, as terrible as that was,
Oh,
he deserved.
once
it.
once
Like,
she
you
got
know?
shot, I just thought, good, thank God.
Well, she was terrible. She was
was
terrible,
awful.
man.
She was
Yeah.
awful. Not only that, she wanted to fuck her cousin. What's up with that? Incestuous.
was a
I
little
forgot I
crazy.
wrote that down. Incestuous
go.
for the third one.
Yeah, the third movie was so weird.
Predatory.
Like, it would be like good on its own, but like so many flaws.
Oddly
Like,
enough,
incest, terrible dialogue, some bad acting, just fuck.
who was that? Was that Coppola's daughter? Is that, Sophia?
that was Sophia Coppola. Yeah.
That's
She
hilarious.
was only in that movie because Winona Ryder dropped out like 2 weeks before they started shooting.
Winona
wow.
Ryder?
She would have been way better.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, she would have been better, but I don't know.
This is
I don't
Winona
know.
Ryder in her peak. This is like Edward
Yeah.
Scissorhands Winona Ryder.
I don't
It
know.
still would have been weird, but
They're
I
like,
think
we need the.
Cop-
All right, we
Yes.
can't get her. Let's keep the nose, and let's
Yeah.
get.
Sophia Coppola was just like reading lines off the fucking page. Like it was her delivery was so. I like.
Terrible.
She was
I
also in the first one.
forgot.
Is that how she got the first role too? Reading lines off the page when she was the baptized
Well,
baby.
she was like a fucking baby. Yeah.
She was there. She was just there. She was like building cabinets in the background, and George Lucas needed someone to read lines.
Coppola.
Sophia Coppola is
Coppola's
Harrison Ford.
and now she makes wine, and she also fucks her cousin, Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
Played by the great Andy Garcia.
Was that Andy Garcia's first role? I liked him.
No, he was in the Untouchables before that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, mixed feelings about that character. Sometimes he did like stupid shit. I guess he was they just tried to make a new Sonny, clearly with Vincent. But like some shit annoyed me about Vincent.
A new
but then there was
Sonny,
also some
and his
dope
like rapid adoption of him. Like he just lost his son,
that was weird.
So I feel like that's why he adopted Vinny so quickly, because Vinny came in like a fucking idiot. He was drunk. He had the thing. He was like, you're gonna, and then immediately he was like, all right, I'll keep him. And then how long did time go by before he was like, you're the leader now?
I think he knew who he was, though. He does say in dialogue that he knew of him. Like that's Sonny. He knew that Sonny's son. Michael was trying to get away from the family business so much that I feel like he just didn't give a shit. And the sisters who brings him in, and her character arc from the beginning to the end is probably the most interesting one.
I thought she was I mean, if there was a 4, can't wait for 4, she would be Michael Corleone, right? She would be the
or Vincent. They were actually gonna make a 4th, and
I could see Vincent like being the head, but I could see her like calling the shots.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
She did in the third one. She told him all the shit to do.
Yeah. That's why, and that's why I thought it was. I oddly enough enjoyed the third one more than the first two, simply because I didn't know anything about the third one. I didn't know how it began, how it ended, what it was about. I didn't know the Catholic Church. I didn't know anything. I didn't know the ending, which you almost ruined for me, Schwartz. So, and that's how I think. That's how I like to watch movies. I don't want to know shit. The first 2 movies, I knew everything because they've been around forever and they're iconic.
Right.
I think too, the third one had a really, really, really high like premise that they just didn't live up to with the screenplay. Like the idea of the whole him getting involved with the Vatican, bailing the Vatican out, and then him controlling the businesses they own, Immobiliare. That's fucking cool. That's a cool idea. But I think it was just rushed. Like, I feel like the first 2 screenplays were like really, really, really thorough and really good. Like the character development was like perfect in those movies. Whereas this one,
they tacked another hour on, they could have.
No, I think they should have like made more of the movie about Vincent. I feel like he should have been the main character as opposed to Michael. Like if they were gonna go with him becoming the new Michael, I feel like it should have been more just about him instead of Michael going back to Sicily and
that really only happens when he fucking like when he shakes his hand. He's like, "You're Vincent Corleone." That happens like the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it was definitely rushed, and for some reason the dialogue was, with the way they were reading it, was just so contrived. Like I watched the scene and I'd be like, how the fuck did Coppola think that was a good take? Like, what is going on here? I mean, he's arguably one of the top 20 directors of all time, and listen, the first 2 movies, especially the second one, are fucking epic. Like I'll put the second one up there with There Will Be Blood as one of the best movies I've ever seen, but the third one is it's I hate to say this, but it's kind of disgraceful to put it in that trilogy.
It
not
hurts
good.
It's not it's not a bad movie. It was just too, like you said, it was just too rushed. The fucking dialogue sucks. It's like if they had more time or something, I don't know what they needed, but it doesn't fit up. It doesn't live up to the first 2 in my opinion. I think the first one's the best in my opinion. Yeah.
I like the first one.
Second one, number 2 is like it's a fucking close second. That's for sure. Like it's hard.
I see the argument.
They're both great for many reasons. I just liked the story arc of Michael in the first one alone, and one thing I thought was cool, which I never thought about before, was how much Breaking Bad basically took from this movie in so many ways.
I'm watching Breaking Bad right now, and I think the same thing every now and then. I'm like, oh, this is, but I just thought it was because I'm fucking indoctrinated in this movie right now.
Yeah, like Michael started out being a good guy, but he had to kind of go to the dark side for his family more or less. And he mostly, that was his main intentions at first. It was all about his family. And then what really got me was there was the scene, this is probably my favorite scene of the first movie, where it's toward the end when he was at the baptismal, when he was literally becoming a godfather, when all of his enemies were getting fucking whacked, like or whatever, the 5 heads were getting whacked.
That was the first time
very
this
much
happened.
Yeah, and you guys have both seen Breaking Bad, right, all the way through, right? I think I've watched it
ever.
Yeah, of course. So that it's when it's toward the end. It's in I think it's like the last scene of when he kills all the people that are in prison.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminded me of that scene a lot because he was like eating with his family, doing something wholesome, while all this like dark shit was going on the other side. And like that was kind of like, okay, now I'm the man, and that's kind of when he became the man. But it was all like it all started with good intentions, and then it went dark. And then there was this other scene which I thought, like cinematography wise,
is paved with good intentions.
Exactly. The cinematography wise, like they do a lot of that like split face cinematography in like the lighting when he like half their face is dark, half their face is lit in Breaking Bad. There was this scene right before he got Connie's husband killed, where like he like leaned in and he was like it was that half lit face. I'm like, ooh, I see where Breaking Bad took that show from. Because it's that good and bad. Like he's doing it for a good reason, but really like what he's doing is a bad thing. So it's like I love like the comparison with those two. I noticed a lot of, and that was mostly the first one, but like number 2 portrayed that a lot with like how De Niro, like his rise also was the same kind of shit. He kind of did it with good intentions. He did it to make money. He did it for his family.
Yeah,
just kind of fell on De Niro.
Yeah, it did.
But he had the balls,
I loved how
he had the balls and the brains though to see that he could do it. Like he was like, I can fucking do what this guy's doing. You know what I mean? And he had the brains to be like, well, if I kill this guy, people are gonna fear me. So boom, I'm done. You know, it's me now.
Yeah.
And which is kind of what Walt did to Mike in Breaking Bad. Which, as much as that sucks, actually in Breaking Bad, that's the only part of the show I hated because I liked that character Mike so much, and the way that he goes out in that scene where Walter just shoots him and he's like, and he's like dying, and Walter's talking to him. He's like, just let me fucking die in peace, dude. He's like, I fucking hate you. I was like, oh my God, I hate you right now, Walter White. I never hated Walter White. Even when he killed Jesse's girlfriend, I still didn't hate him. But when he killed Mike, I was like, fuck this dude.
I don't know if it's because I've seen it already or just fresh eyes, but immediately I hated Walter White. I'm on season 3, like episode 5 right now. Immediately you realize this guy is a bad guy from the get-go. From the get-go, he's the most selfish person in the world. All he cares about is him. I mean, his family, but in the end, it turns into him, and he's just ruthless in that. And from the get-go, the way he talks to Pinkman, the way he talks to Skyler. I mean, Skyler's the most annoying character in the whole show, other than her sister. But
her sister's actually fun though. Like it's some of the shit she does is dumb. Like when she steals things, like that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, that weirdly went nowhere. That storyline, but
yeah. Well, her sister's storyline went nowhere.
Yeah, she should have died at the Citadel. Anyway,
but again, that's another thing with Michael. Michael starts out to this great guy, and then he becomes the most evil guy in the world, where he's willing to kill his own brother. Like I think that's the craziest part of the movie is that he killed Fredo. Like as
Fredo
much
turned on him, dude.
No, for sure, and I get that, but Fredo was fucking harmless. Like he didn't have to kill him. Like he didn't have to kill Fredo. He wanted to kill Fredo.
Yeah, it's almost like Fredo didn't even mean to, in a way.
No, he didn't. He's dumb.
Like he's just dumb. Like he just
got taken advantage of. But I think Michael resented him for being that dumb. I think Michael got to the point of being a person that was so powerful and could do whatever he wanted that if he looked down on you, like he doesn't care who you are, whether you're his mom or his brother, he just like, fuck it. Like I have no remorse for you at all.
He cared. He had remorse.
He cared when he was 75 years old, but he didn't care when he was 40 years old and killed him.
Yeah, he wanted that shit done. Like
he wanted Fredo dead. Yeah. He wanted people to know. Like I think
you tell Roar, you knew that right at the beginning or right after he talked to him, and he goes, "I want nothing bad to happen to him while my mother's alive."
Yep. And that
Exactly.
scene, like
Hey,
the
fuck them, dude.
I also love that the whole Cuban aspect of the second movie. Like if they go to Cuba, it's there during the revolution. I thought that was pretty cool. And that was all really shot really well. The movie, I think besides for the performances of De Niro, Pacino, and Brando, the thing that people recognize the movie most is the cinematography because of how different it was and how kind of no one really took chances with that much darkness in movies before. Like some of these shots are pretty fucking dark and it's pretty
Very dark.
goddamn like it's like an exclamation point, you know what I mean? And they chose that. They were like, well, you know what, we're gonna do that. Which is pretty dope.
Yeah, I also heard they did it just because their prosthetics were bad.
On who?
On
Probably fucking
on the Godfather on
Brando.
Brando. The prosthetics were so bad they had to hide it in shadows.
Huh. But I mean, they filmed the whole movie that way, not just him.
Yeah, well, you know, they can't just have they can't just have him in darkness. But he I mean, and then they were like, he's also dark because he's the bad guy. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
And it was so dark that the art director threw a splash of orange in there, and that's where the whole orange theory came from. That's a fake theory, or that's
Yeah,
just
I
a
read that
fan.
too.
That's just a fan theory.
I don't know. I followed the orange theme and it worked because even
Throughout
there's a-
all three movies, I feel like they caught on and they just started doing it. But
yeah.
as
Well-
the fan theory of like they purposely put the orange there before someone was going to get killed. That's, I mean, the art director was just he said I just put it there because it was so dark. I wanted a splash of something bright in the middle.
Yeah, but I remember there was like when De Niro first killed that one boss, like he was like eating an orange on his way home, and I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna die, and then De Niro fucking got him.
Yeah, see,
So,
it's
you
like
just saw a lot of that.
I knew who was gonna die. I knew all the plot points along the way. It was for me watching this movie was just waiting for the next plot point to come. When does he confront Fredo? When does he kill Fredo? Like I knew all this shit going into it, even though I'd never seen the movie. Like that if you're alive and you know anything about cinema, you know Fredo turned on him.
Yeah.
So the actor who plays Fredo, his name's John. I think
Jim Caviezel.
Jim. No, that's the dude
That's
from
Jesus.
That's Jesus from The Passion. And this guy's name is like John Cazale or John Cazale. He only made 5 movies, and then he died suddenly of like a rare disease. But the 5 movies he made were Godfather, Godfather Part 2, Dog Day Afternoon, The Deer Hunter, and something else. And I was just like, holy shit! Like this guy made like 4 or 5 of the most epic movies ever. Yeah. And he was actually dating Meryl Streep for a while. And when he died, she was dating him.
Damn. Did she know about that giant forehead?
I mean, she loved him, dude. But you got to think about it, man. Jack Nicholson's had that hairline his whole career, and he's been fucking slaying, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking slaying.
Jack Nicholson's Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about Jim Caviezel. Everybody thinks he's Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
can
what
see
did you
the
like about
argument.
this
I
movie?
can see the argument for the second movie being the better one or the whatever, just because of its epicness and its span of time. What I think is that the second movie it was just made for people who loved The Godfather, the first one. And they're like, oh, well, how do we do another one? They're like, well, people loved these two characters. Let's expand. You know, we can't go any further on him because he's dead. So we got to go back in the past. And I just, and they were, I feel like it was made for the fan, which is cool, which I love. But it's like watching it, you're like, oh, this is where this is the town he was from, or he saw his mom get slayed. And my favorite part of the second movie was when he goes back and he murks that dude. I thought that was awesome. I kind of I kind of forgot about was he Don Chicho? I kind of forgot about him. Yeah. About that whole situation because it happens in the very beginning, and she's like, "Don't hurt my son. He's a little retarded and he is weak. He won't hurt you." And he's like, "I got him, man." And then he just slays her, which was ruthless again. Mm-hmm. It was cool. I didn't know if he was gonna do it. I didn't know if he was gonna go and just be like, "Hey, man, I just want you to know we're cool or whatever," because he's old as fuck. and he's just like, this is my dad, Andolini. I kill you. It was
what
great.
I loved is that the old man remembered who he was.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Like he knew right away. He was like, "Oh no, it's that dude," and that which was great, which was awesome.
waiting
Yeah.
all of Michael's life. I liked the beginning of the movie. I liked how it kind of it ended with him in New York. I don't know. My point was this was a movie made for the fans of Godfather 1.
Right.
And it was just catered to every little, like, where did Sonny come from? Where did Vito come from? How did he get, how did he call himself Corleone? Like, all the
Well,
Yeah.
I think as a 1-2 punch, like Jake was saying before, like the way that the first script is laid out to where it's like you meet Michael, you meet his dad, and then he has to kill, like after the first one, after Michael kills the police captain, you're kind of like, oh shit, what the fuck? Like that was probably the best scene in the first movie for me. That whole thing where he goes in the bathroom, grabs the
Another
gun,
classic one for sure.
and then he goes to Palermo, to Sicily, and you're like, oh, like is he gonna go there now? And then he almost marries the Apollonia,
yeah.
and then she gets killed, and then he comes back, and then you're like, oh my god, it's like 2 movies in one. And the second one kind of did the same thing, but instead of showing Michael in Palermo, he showed the dad there and showed how he got there. So the construction and the non-linear storytelling, even for the 1970s. I mean, I'm not saying that was new per se, but it was probably perfected with these movies.
Yeah. I think it's almost like they
up until Pulp Fiction came along. That is,
it's still linear time. It's just 2 timelines.
That's true. I guess it is linear. You're right, because he leaves, goes, comes back. Yeah,
it's like the main characters sort of like switch places in a way.
Yeah,
from like Michael was becoming the Godfather in the first one when he was the Godfather in the second one, and then Vito was the Godfather in the first one and became the Godfather in the second one. So
it's true.
It was very like reflective in a sense.
Yeah,
I could have watched a 3-hour movie of just Vito becoming Vito.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, that was the best part.
De Niro,
because I guess
De Niro was killed. De Niro killed it. I loved how he like off the bat, the first time you hear him talk, he's kind of got the thing, but like toward the end, I think toward the end, he even has the jowls thing and everything. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna make her. Oh, well, he says that pretty early on. I'll make an offer he can't refuse.
Right, got that early. Yeah, but I think for just the overall arching storyline of one contracted storyline. If The Godfather was the only movie, like it would have been fucking dope movie. Like, and then 2 added to it, and I think because of 2, you kind of set it up for a third. Thanks a lot, 2.
Well, you needed to see what happened to Michael. You needed to, and I'm glad they made the third movie. I just wish they would have.
The second one, it just ends with him like sad in a corner, right?
They all end like that. The first one ends with Kay staring in at him becoming the Godfather, sad.
Yeah.
The second one ends with him sitting in outside in Nevada and the third one. So my biggest gripe with the third one's recut is they recut the very end. So the very end when Michael is old, like 80, 90 years old, puts on the glasses, then it goes to black and it has that stupid fucking quote, which was never in the original trilogy. The original ending,
I was just like, Sicilians never forget. And I was like, what?
Yeah, no, that wasn't in the original at all. That's new.
Okay, good.
And the first one ends with that close-up shot of him putting on the glasses, and then it cuts back to the wide shot, and then he just falls off the chair and he's dead. And that was like, that's the craziest way to end that movie, because he's dead. He died alone because he's such a fucking cocksucker, and he deserved everything he got. And that was great. But this didn't end like that.
It didn't really show him actually dying, did it?
No, but in the original trilogy, it does. It shows him die.
Yeah, he kind of falls over, sort of like Vito did in the first one.
Can we assume
this is the thing? I feel like
gunshot.
I think for the second one, from the third one, the recut's called The Death of Michael Corleone. And weirdly, I don't know if I've actually seen all of the third one now that I remember before we did this. And I'm like, does he die at the end? And I like thought that. And then I watched it, and then he didn't die technically in the third one in the recut. But then I look and I had it, but I'm like, I gotta check the ending of the other one. So I looked up the ending of the comparisons, and I'm like, oh, he did die. So I'm like, that's weird that they call it The Death of Michael Corleone, the recut, and then he doesn't actually die in that one, but he dies in the third one. And you don't know that he dies, and it's just kind of confusing.
He dies.
That's weird that they.
He dies just like Marlon Brando does too. He just falls. He just falls over.
Yeah. They should have left that in. I think. I don't know why they
That
took
seed
that
too.
out.
That seeded the first one where Marlon Brando dies at the end is a pretty strong seed with his grandson just running around with him in the fucking fields. As like that was pretty. And what else I love about the cinematography of these movies is that they don't go crazy. Like if he can tell an entire scene in like a wide shot between two people, they fucking will, and it worked really well. And actually, I think the third movie cinematography is the best looking one. As much as I don't like the movie, I fucking love the look of the movie. Like when they're in the Vatican in the beginning and like Michael's fucking apartment, like his $2 million apartment in New York City, like. That shit looked dope. Like that, I love the cinematography of the third one. I love the color scheme of it. It's a little brighter. Like they use a lot more sunlight to light things. Like I really like the third one cinematography.
Word.
No,
it was
he dies.
He does die. Does he die in the recut?
His eyes roll back into his head and he lays back.
Okay.
And that's when it cuts to Connie.
Okay, cool.
And she puts the hood on. Just like the
no.
we just saw.
No. Go further. There's a part where he's sitting in a chair in the end.
Are you sure?
He doesn't die at the opera. He dies at like 90 years old and by himself in Sicily.
Yeah, it's way later.
It's way later. Not way later. It's probably like 2 minutes
there's
later.
5 minutes left of this movie.
Yeah, go to
like credits.
Way later in time.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
I literally just watched this less than an hour ago too. Okay, yeah. Dogs and shit.
So in the first movie, that wide shot with the dogs, that's how it ends, but he falls off that chair and dies.
And
in this one, it's this stupid fucking quote.
It just fades to black and goes quote. Oh my fucking shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I wish they would.
I
wonder why they changed that.
Better.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
People are saying the new cut's better when I don't really see much. I guess they cut out a lot of the beginning.
Did you hear what he said in the beginning of the recut of FCC First Ford or FCC?
Oh no, I watched that.
He explains it. He's like, they changed the beginning and they changed. Yeah, it just fades to black. Lame. So he doesn't even die.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's kind of a bummer. Like, why doesn't they just should show him fucking die? I guess.
So instead of that quote, I envision him just falling over in the wide shot. Yeah, that's lame.
Yeah.
What were we just saying?
But yeah, no, just comparing the two, even though I never watched it, I just saw video on it. It just sounded like they like trimmed up some scenes and then changed a big part in the beginning and then
that's what he said that they recut the beginning and they recut the end to make the story of Michael more complete, is what they said. Or is what he said, is something like that in the beginning. I don't know. I don't know what they cut out. I've never seen the third one, the original third one. So it seemed cohesive enough. I do know now, knowing how the original one ended, I definitely wish that's how it ended. But him just being alone and living his life in misery is. It was still the death of him in a way of handing it over to Vincent and then him just being alone.
Yeah, because he deserved that too, and you saw that coming. Like when Kay even told him, she's like, you're a terrible person. That whole thing with her and him, and the second one too, like when he slaps her after he finds out she aborted his baby, dude, that's one of the greatest scenes ever too. Like, do we know what I love about Pacino in these movies is? In every single other movie Pacino's ever made, he's always like, ooh, ooh. But in these movies, except for maybe 3 or 4 times, he doesn't really ever talk louder than this. And
what? He screams all the time.
No, he screams like 4 times.
He's like, where's Fredo?
Yeah,
he's
that's like his
third
time
in this movie.
He's super composed. He's super quiet. That's what I liked about him in this movie.
It's calculated.
Great. Big ass.
Great ass.
Yeah. What else? I thought he had.
Robert
I thought
Duvall's
his diabetes was pretty funny. Oh, my diabetes! He falls over.
Yeah, I think Robert Duvall's character was my favorite character, though. If we're going favorite characters, just because I liked how he was a outsider who became a consigliere, like supposedly the first non-Italian to do so. That's pretty cool.
Right. And I guess Duvall didn't want to do the third one, so they just cut his part out.
Yeah, which
And
sucks because he would have been
rewrote
awesome.
a bunch
in
of
it.
shit. Yeah.
Which one was he? He was the guy that he came to in the second one. And
Tom
he was
Hagen.
like,
No,
he's
Tom
like,
Hagen, their brother, the lawyer, fucking Robert Duvall, fucking. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
oh,
He
yeah.
was the
Let's
Irish
watch that
brother.
movie. We should've watched
He was the Irish guy that was their adopted brother, pretty much.
One of the main
Their lawyer.
characters in the fucking movie.
Yeah, in the
He got
second
kidnapped
movie,
in the
he's
first
like,
one.
I kept you. I didn't tell you anything, but now I'm telling you
Yeah.
everything because you're.
Yeah.
That's who I was
Yep.
just trying to fucking say. You
Oh,
guys
okay.
laughed at me.
That guy.
Right.
Vafango. Yeah, I thought Brando sucked.
What?
I just didn't think. I think for all the hype, it was not the performance I was hoping.
Well, listen, you're looking at Marlon Brando from a different perspective. You're looking at him when he's already Marlon Brando. You're looking at him 50 years after this movie. When you're looking at him in 1974, after he was basically like DiCaprio for fucking 20 years and then fell off big time and people thought he was a weirdo. And then all of a sudden he comes back with this. It's a pretty good accomplishment.
He was a weirdo.
Yeah.
I'm sure that dude.
I don't know. I didn't know all that because I'm
He
only
won
30.
the Oscar. That's what I'm saying, but you gotta look at it from a different way. What was I gonna say? But so when he won the Oscar for this, he sent an Indian woman from an
Yes,
Indian
well,
tribe
I knew
to
that
go
too.
there and basically just say, "What you guys do to Indian people is a plight, and it's fucked
Native
up."
American, to be clear.
Awesome. Okay, I'm sorry, Native American. And I was like,
American
"Damn,
Indian
that
is
was
cool.
American Indian's fine. But just saying
Thanks,
Indians,
Jake.
confusing and mostly incorrect.
I think everyone knows that story.
That's
And they know that he sent fucking Sacagawea to accept the message.
Yeah. I knew that story.
No, was that offensive? I'm sorry. That was rude.
yeah, yeah." What was your favorite scene from each movie, Jake? Give me first, second, third.
The first movie I would, like I said before, I think it was when there was the baptism while simultaneously everyone was getting slaughtered. But a notable scene was also when Sonny first beat the shit out of Connie's husband and like beat him down and like beat him up in like the street and like the fire hydrant and shit. Like just that, I don't know, just that scene was always memorable.
I think you're thinking of The Irishman.
No, it happened in this one where
yeah.
Sonny beat up the brother-in-law. Number 2 favorite scene, I think it was him. De Niro's Vito was, I think, just him getting like him first kind of getting introduced to the crime shit with was Clemenza, was that the dude's name?
Yeah.
His neighbor, like that scene. They're like little hijinks were pretty.
I like them.
Like the rug scene. And they get to take the rug.
That's
exactly
my favorite
the rug
scene.
Him getting tossed the guns over. Those scenes were like probably my favorite
they were
scenes.
totally Lebowskiing it up, dude. They went and snagged that dude's rug.
Yeah. And his revenge at the very end when he killed the Don from Sicily. His revenge. Those two, like really, De Niro was my favorite side. I preferred that story over the two stories, but it was a good movie, of course.
Yeah.
Number 3, what would be my favorite scene of that one? That's I think when they broke into Vincent's apartment, I thought was kind of cool because
Bridget Fonda.
Yeah, with Bridget Fonda in there, Vincent just kind of out badassed them and killed them both. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Straight Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Who is she? Was she like a reporter? Where did she come from? Where did she go? Where do you come from? Where do you go?
I was just thinking that, like, I don't remember what happened to her.
She's outie.
She's just like, fuck this. People coming and trying to kill you and shit.
I'm good on that.
Hey, Bridget Fonda, can you come in for a half a day of work?
Yeah.
You get to kiss Andy Garcia.
All right, what about you, Anthony? First, second, third movies, favorite scene?
Oh, the first movie. What happened in the first movie again?
It was he goes
Part 1,
the wedding. He kills the guy in the diner. Another great scene. And then he goes to Italy.
I have some shit written down here that I don't even know.
Gets married.
I've been here for a year. There was some lines that Fredo was saying that sounded straight out of like Pee Wee Herman, and I think that was one of them. I've been here for a year. What the? No, that was a different line. I can't remember what his line was. But there were some lines I was watching. I was literally watching Fredo. It might have been in the second one.
Pee Wee
Yeah.
Herman.
It was in the second one. Fredo goes, he goes, I ain't the way they think it. I'm smart. Sound like Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm smart.
Yeah, fucking Fredo. He's so pathetic.
Oh,
Yeah, he was.
I wish I could remember.
That scene where Fredo
It
dies,
ain't the way
like
I
the
wanted
silhouette
it.
of him on the boat was pretty great.
Wait,
Yeah,
so
I
does
definitely remember
Connie
that scene.
think that he drowned? Connie knows what's up, right?
So I heard that line and I thought that to myself too. So remember the daughter's like, hey, he killed his own brother, right? So there's definitely a rumor going around
Yeah.
that he killed Fredo. And that's the truth, obviously. I think Connie knows 100%, but if she talks to Michael, she realizes that she has to say something like that for him to even be okay with her mentioning that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also it was like he was torn up at that point when when he said the line. He was super torn up about it. So I think she in my head she knew what happened, and she was just saying, listen, he drowned and that's what happened and we got to get over it. And I think that's what I got out of it. I think she knows.
Yeah.
She seemed like she's the one. She's the ruthless one.
Well, look at her character.
She was
arc.
kind of the boss, at the end.
She went from being the helpless daughter of powerful man and powerful brothers to the second one where she was just fucking living the fucking Vita Loca, fucking flying around the world, banging dudes and fucking spending her dad's money. And then the third one, well, the end of the second one and into the third one, she's the fucking Donstress. She's the godmother, dude.
Donstress. Don Vito was born on December 7th. We learned that.
Yeah. What about you? What about the second one, Anthony? You even give me the first one. What's your favorite scene in the first one?
I like the parade when Corleone dies. Or not the parade. When Corleone gets shot, it's not a parade. It's like he's just out on the street vendors and shit.
Yeah. So
I like those. They did it in all the movies where it's just kind of a fun thing where he's just like, hello everybody, hello, and then he gets shot, and then he goes like this. He's so terrible.
Impressive that he survived that. He got shot a few times.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna die. I thought he died in that scene, and I thought that was like the last scene of the movie. When I was watching this, I was like, damn, I didn't know that happened. Like,
it was like 40 minutes in.
Thing. Yeah, 40 minutes into a 4-hour movie.
Right.
What were you gonna say, Schwartz? I don't even remember. Oh yeah. So if you noticed, most of this movie, I'd say like 80 to 90% of it is shot like eye level. The whole camera is always eye level. It doesn't really do many things besides for that. And then in that scene in the movie when he gets shot, they do a crane shot from the sky. And I guess that I was reading a lot about Gordon Willis, who is the DP, and he fought with Coppola over shit like that. He was like, we've been doing it the whole way this time. Like, we got to keep it up. And Coppola's like, no, because we have to give some sort of like excitement with the camera for people to be like, oh, this is different. Like, something's gonna happen here. You know what I mean? And I guess that back then that really affected people in the movie theater because they were so used to not seeing any crane shots or aerials or anything like that in the movie. And all of a sudden that happened. People were like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So it really worked really well.
Especially in the whole, if the whole movie is eye level and then that first one is going to jump out at you.
Exactly. And that was the point. And what else is an interesting thing to talk about the first one is how is how in the end when he kills Connie's husband, so their brother-in-law, the guy that Sonny introduced to her. I think that whole aspect of it was the first time Michael really realized that family could be something that turns against you. And I think that's interesting too, because I mean, as much as he wasn't their blood, he was still married to the sister, you know what I mean? And I think that's when Michael realized that, like, because he was so much about family and like just being there for everybody and doing the right thing and all that shit. And I think that's when he was like, oh shit, like I didn't know that that would be a thing. And then he kind of, I think that was, I think, the first time he ever had to think about like be doing something to someone in his family. You know what I mean? Whereas Sonny didn't give a fuck. He just wanted to beat the shit out of him.
Well, Sonny
Which
wasn't as
Talia Shire,
thoughtful.
yeah, Talia Shire, the sister Connie, she is also related to Coppola. That's his sister.
Incestuous. This whole movie is incestuous.
No,
The
isn't
second
she Adrian
movie.
from Rocky?
What'd you say? Is
Isn't
she
what?
from
Is she
Yugoslavia?
Adrian from Rocky too?
Adrian.
Isn't that Adrian?
Is that her? I
I
think
think
so.
it is.
Yeah,
I think it is.
the chick that plays Connie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I'm sure half of these
All
people
right.
are
Second
in
movie,
Rocky.
Anthony. Second movie.
The second movie, I liked everything in Italy, or not everything in Italy. I liked everything. I liked De Niro. I liked all De Niro's shit. And
Yeah,
my favorite, I
killer.
think my favorite scene was probably when he goes back, either the beginning, which was like, whoa, shit, when he blasts his mom away, or when he goes back and kills that dude. I think that's probably my favorite scene because it was something I kind of forgot about. But when it happened, you're like, all right, nice.
Yeah.
And the even just the seconds building up to it, I didn't know if he was going to do it or not. I was just waiting for it, and he did, and I was happy, and they got away somehow. It was cool. It was cool. I don't know, that whole scene, just leading up to it, walking down the pathway. I was like, this looks like a familiar pathway. So yeah, that scene is definitely my favorite. The third movie, when in the end, the not the very end, but like when they're on the steps and when they get shot, I was just like, finally. And I'm a little disappointed he didn't die, but when she was dying, I was like, good. And when I thought he died, I was like, good. And then when I thought the movie was over, I was like, good. Vafangu. A lot of suspenders in this movie. A lot of suits and suspenders.
That whole opera scene was pretty good, actually. A lot was going on. It's pretty epic sounding the whole time because it's operatic. And then it just ended up with fucking Sofia Coppola getting shot. So I was like, all right,
Spoiler.
cool.
Good.
Cool.
The production design in these movies is pretty epic too, especially the third one.
Yeah,
The third one's production design was absolutely amazing.
All of them were. It was
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I'm sure they had a lot of money for production design.
They had a lot of money for sure. I mean, Coppola was like pretty young when he directed the first movie too, and he won an Oscar for it, and he got to do basically whatever he wanted. In a 10-year span, Coppola directed The Godfather, The Godfather Part 2, The Conversation, and Apocalypse Now, all in the same 10 years. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and we decided to watch these ones.
We watched these because you've never seen them and you needed to see them, and now you have. You're welcome.
Apocalypse Now is a fucking sick movie. All of them, all versions.
Yeah.
Ready?
All 14 versions of that movie. He loves doing that, huh? He's just like, yeah, I watched it, and I want to George Lucas this.
He's George Lucas's mentor.
Mentor, or I thought they were contemporaries.
Yeah, he's a little older than George Lucas, and he brought him like American Zoetrope when he created it. George Lucas was the first person who came with him because they were both kind of wanting to do things outside of the studio system. Him and George Lucas, like George Lucas, encouraged him to make he encouraged George Lucas to actually make Star Wars. If it wasn't for Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas probably be running around with a fucking camera in the jungle somewhere making documentaries.
Which is what he's doing right now.
Bold.
Who knows what he's doing right now?
I watched an interview with him I don't know how long ago it was, but they're like, so what are you doing now? Like, are you making movies? Like, yeah, I'm just enjoying my retirement. I'm making I'm working on a bunch of different projects. The guy was like, are we gonna see any of them? He's like, nope. They're just for me and my friends and my family. I was like, damn, that's
great.
dope. He's just fucking making multi-million-dollar features, probably, or shorts, either way, for just nobody to watch. I'm going to make them. I'm going to burn them.
That's pretty awesome.
It's like the Frank Zappa of movie making.
Do you think what I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, the second one, the Cuba stuff was cool. Very Scarface, Scarfacey.
I'll go through my top 3 from each one. So the first movie I love the when he kills the cop in the diner. That's my favorite scene from the first one. My favorite scene in the second one is when De Niro is following the dude he kills on the rooftop and down into the building and all that shit. That was the best scene in the second one. And then the third one, my favorite scene is probably the end too, when Sofia Coppola gets murked, because I was so tired of her.
Tired of her. She wanted to fuck her cousin the whole time, and he's like, all right, maybe. And then Vito's or Michael's like, no, definitely not. And he was like, God, come on. And he was like, you could take over if you don't fuck your cousin. Deal.
Yeah.
Don't fuck my daughter, your cousin.
But see, he wasn't really concerned about the fact that it was his daughter. He was more concerned that it was his cousin,
so
which I get.
People are gonna think this is weird. I don't really give a fuck, but people are gonna think it's weird.
Well, I mean, he's a 60-year-old dude.
Also, he said when they come for you, they're gonna come for the ones you love. So basically, if you want to protect her, you don't. Exactly. I kind of got that from it too, but at the same time, and the whole time I'm like, I mean, I guess they're probably second cousins. And then in the end, he's like, he's your first cousin. What are you doing? I was like, what? The whole time they know that?
Yeah, they know.
Why even have that storyline? How many Italian kids want to fuck their cousins?
So weird.
After that movie.
So
after that movie, how many Italians are like, I didn't know that was cool. And hey, don't get me wrong, I'm half Iranian, so that's the way it's done over there. But yeah, I think it's weird.
I really so there was one thing that really bothered me about the third one, and it's only because I've been to the Vatican with Anthony and we went there. And so in the third movie, in the end, remember the trusted confidant of Michael from when he was in the second one to the third one, Al Neri? He goes to the Vatican and shoots the fucking priest. Okay, me and Anthony have been to the Vatican. Anthony, how many people were standing outside of the Vatican when we were there? How many security guards? How many tourists? How many people just taking pictures? How the fuck did that guy get in the Vatican? Come on.
How did he get in, bro?
How did he get in?
1980, no one gave a shit, bro.
This is pre 9/11, dude.
Yeah, dude, no one cared back then.
So wait, you don't think in 1980 that there were people outside of the Vatican waiting in line to take tours and shit?
Doors were wide open.
I doubt it was as it was now. Number one, based on the ability and the cost of travel, there weren't people like there would be today. And number two, I bet it was a lot more open common terrorism, which probably comes with the ability and cost of travel.
All right, I guess you're right. All right.
I doubt there was like barriers like we saw. I doubt there was lines of people in like a tour but like situation like we saw.
I don't think any of that was
honestly there? I bet for a lot of the Vatican you could just walk in. Like where we went in, I bet it was just open.
That's crazy.
I bet it. I don't know, but I bet I for sure. I think it would have been a lot less secure today. Could you have gotten all the way in there with a gun? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you're good at it.
If you're part of the family. They were buying the Pope. Who cares?
He does that shit. He does that shit for a living. He gets guns into places for a living.
That's what I thought was cool about the third one. I was like, damn, dude, he went high. You can't get much higher in Italy than the Pope.
Well, also too, he's probably one of the only people who's willing to give $.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
willing to give that. That was a lot of money. So wait, so he gave 600 million, right? But
Yeah,
they only told everyone that they gave him
100.
200 million or 2 million or something. 100 million. And then I like how that guy came and he was like, "Let me help you. I have another million for you." And he was like, "Oh, thanks. You're a nice guy."
And then that's the guy who betrays him.
Oh,
And
is
they
it?
give him
I
the
gotta pay.
they give him the
It's
fucking
so confusing.
poison cannoli.
Oh yeah, that was ruthless.
That was her.
I was like, why is this bitch watching this guy eat the cannoli? Actually, I kind of figured it out when he was like, "You eat it," and she was like, "So good. Here you go." I don't know why he wouldn't have been like, "Ah, that was weird."
Yeah.
Tootsie Rolls. Oh, I was just so over it.
Yeah.
So much. And maybe in a week I'll have a whole new perspective on it. I think if I was gonna watch another one, or if I was gonna watch one over again, oddly enough, it'd be the second one, the longest one. Just
there was a
because
lot in there.
it had so much. One, I could probably, granted, I did watch it like thoroughly once, and then I had it on just in the background while I was doing like woodworking and shit. A couple, like, I would just start it over again just to listen to it,
Absorb it.
so I did absorb a lot, but I'm sure I missed things because of how much there was, and I thought it was the most interesting in the fact that it was going back and forth. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed watching De Niro. I just want to watch De Niro do things.
De Niro shit was good. Oh yeah.
Ruthless.
Mm-hmm. Cold blooded.
I like the part where he goes, "I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse." They never said that in the third one.
Mm-mm.
It's
No,
like
his dad said it.
It's like
They played it out, dude.
Oh yeah, I guess well,
That's true.
but like the first time you hear it said
was story about.
I guess
dad.
it was Vito. No, Vito says it, but then
Pacino,
you hear
Pacino never says it.
Yeah, he does.
It tells the story of his dad saying it.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
he's gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah. To Kay when we first meet
Okay,
Kay.
so yeah, let's talk about Kay a little bit. We haven't talked about Kay. What do you guys think about that character? Like, I felt so fucking bad for her, man.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Well, yeah, it was like Boyhood.
What?
It was abusive. She's like the mother in Boyhood.
She was like the mother in Boyhood.
Yeah, she's like
bad
the mother
relationship.
We got to watch her grow. Look at these pit stains. I'm sweating.
Boyhood, Patricia Arquette, the most unearned Best Actress Oscar in the history of Oscars.
You heard it here, folks.
What? Patricia Arquette played Kay?
Yeah, Schwartz hates Patricia Arquette.
Oh, I love Patricia Arquette, but she didn't deserve an Oscar for Boyhood.
All right.
And
she won an Oscar for that?
Yeah.
For Boyhood, yeah.
And Kay is played by the great Diane Keaton.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah.
She probably got Oscar nominations for that. I don't think she won anything.
I thought she was great. I thought her character. I agree. I felt bad for her, and but even and obviously not the very end, but when she like went to Sicily, and we got to see her again, it was like, oh, it's nice to see Kay again, and she seems to be doing well. And does she have has she remarried someone? Like,
Yeah, she got a dude, I think.
They said like, hey, sorry, fucking Brandon couldn't be here, and then Michael's like, yeah, sorry, he couldn't make it. And then I was half waiting
family
for it.
photo.
I was half waiting for it to cut to like New York and watch like one of Michael's guy taking Brandon out or whatever this guy's name is.
That's too cliche.
Whatever. This movie, then that's another thing that I think takes away from me in this movie is how cliche so much of it has become that I'm watching it. Like every time I heard, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse, I rolled my fucking eyes. Every time I saw Brando talk, I was just, it was laughable to me. But I think the satire that it has become is, I think that kind of screws it up for someone who's never seen the movie.
Yeah,
for sure. It's definitely one of the most like mimicked or parodied things.
Yeah, I was just watching Zootopia, and the little rat's like, "You come to me on my daughter's wedding." The little rat daughter is fucking Snooki. That's a good movie if you've never seen Zootopia.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's a good movie. You got to get past the music. The music's kind of whack, but it's for kids. This music. Let's talk about this music.
Yeah, just as iconic as any John Williams score.
I was sick of it. I'm sick of it. That was overplayed, especially when they started adding lyrics to it. It's just like, leave it as yo. Yeah, what are you talking about?
In the third one, there wasn't there?
In the second one, after Vito kills the dude, he goes back to sits down on the steps with his family, all of his fucking kids, and there's a dude playing guitar and singing Italian, singing the song in Italian. Okay. And even then, I was like, "Oh, that's."
And then the third one, the son sings.
And then the third one, the son sings it to him.
Yeah, I liked that part though, only because like, this is the thing. Michael is such a. You're right. Breaking Bad took Walter White from this movie, from this trilogy, like 100%. Like I really see that now, because Michael is a great guy in the first one, and you really like him, and then in the second one you hate him, and in the third one you're actually glad to see him in pain. You're like, you can't, it's like feeling bad for a Nazi. You can't feel bad for a Nazi. You can't feel bad for a fucking mafia guy who has people killed. You know what I mean? You can, I guess you can feel empathy for him and you can like him because everybody loved Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano was the biggest scumbag in the history of the fucking world, but you rooted for him. So I guess you can like people, but you really can't. At least I can't. Like, I liked seeing Michael suffer. It was nice. I like, even when his daughter dies, like the scream he screams where like it goes blank for a while, like that was like pain. That was just pain coming out of his mouth. And fucking what's his face? I don't know if that was Pacino's idea to scream like that or if that was Coppola's, but that was a cool scene.
Where the cutting the sound a little bit.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked that.
Yeah, it really showed his pain and what he has. I mean, what Kay knows. It's all. I mean, this is how it's gonna end. Like she's been saying it from the beginning. Like, this is not what we wanted. This is not what you wanted, and it's not gonna end well. And she got out, but the kids can't get out.
Yep,
she was in the wrong spot. She got fucking face off, dude.
Yeah, and that dude, the assassin and his son, the guy's like they were pretty interesting. Like they were weird. They were cool.
Yeah, what's up with the son? Why was he down there with the shotgun? Was he like
he was trying to make a distraction
that you
can shoot him? Yeah, that's the thing. The third one, the first and second movies are so goddamn good and they're so well put together that when you see the third one, you're like, when you hear the third, you're like, all right, well, Coppola's 30 years older now, so like this one's gotta be fucking just as good, if not better. And then he like makes like just a shitty movie. Like, I don't understand why first off he even thought about casting his fucking daughter. Like, maybe
in a pretty prominent role.
She was terrible in that movie.
She was in way too much of it.
You know how many times she said "cuz"? She said "cuz" at least. I wanted to punch her in the face.
And then he would go, "What's up, cuz? What are you fucking? What is this? Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
What is this? Too Fast, Too Furious? Pockets ain't empty, cuz." That's one of the best terrible movies in the world.
I hate that movie.
Oh, come on. Pockets ain't empty. Hey, we hungry.
Which movie?
Too Fast, Too Furious, the sequel to the original great Fast and the Furious.
Oh, okay.
I barely
remember it.
Tokyo Drift is a great movie.
Tokyo Drift is awesome. All right, well, what else? You guys have anything else to say?
Why? Why did I need to watch this movie?
Why?
Why did I need to watch all three of these?
Because these are great movies. And all right, so you need to watch the first two because they're epic movies. They're made by a young filmmaker who fucking just hit it out of the park, casted great, made the careers of Al Pacino and probably Robert Duvall and probably Diane Keaton. They were all like 26, 27, 28 years old, trying to fucking become actors, and they get into this movie and it just blows up. It just worked well. The screenplays for the first two are amazing. They cover that much geography, that much time, that many characters, and still be interesting and and compelling is an accomplishment not many have done. The cinematography is epic, and how much darkness it plays with, and how it deals with like a world of death and violence and grandeur, and that's a word.
Wait,
It's
what
great
word?
acting.
What
Like
word did you say?
with going back to the characters, operatic. I think that's a word.
Yeah, that's fine.
What else? It's just it's a really well told story, and it's fun. And this movie is considered by a lot of people that are like the generation before us, like people born in the 70s and late 60s or whatever, filmmakers like M. Night Shyamalan or Brett Ratner, or a lot of the people this is considered like the end all be all these movies, the first two. The third one they shouldn't have made. Fuck the third one. Fuck that one.
So I mean, the third one we watched because if we're gonna watch the first two,
You
might
gotta
as
finish
well
it.
watch the.
But I
we
remember
watched the
seeing-
third one the same reason we watched the fourth Indiana Jones, because it's there and it has to be
Yeah,
talked about. If
true.
we're gonna talk about.
But
it.
I saw the third one back in the day, like when I was getting into movies, like when I was really like trying to watch all the movies everyone said you should watch. And I remember being like, well, I wonder why people hated this so much. Like I get it's not as good as the first two, like I get that, but like it was still great. And I think it was because I was young and I really the cinematography, like I said, the cinematography of that one was really impressive to me. Like I loved that world. Like I feel like the world that Michael Corleone lived in, whether it be the places he hung out, the cars he drove in, the place that he lived, the people he came. I never saw that before. Like I never seen that. Like I was like, oh, that's interesting. So that, but it's not a good movie at all. Like it's pretty fucking bad. It's pretty bad, man. Like I don't know why it's that bad. I really don't.
Yeah, I feel. Do you think it was just rushed, like you said? They could like
Yeah.
could if they made it longer, or they made another one like back to
Well,
back, part one,
I think
part
they
two.
just needed a couple more drafts of that script or something.
Yeah.
Man. Like that. That's
Yeah.
what it could have been.
Yeah.
Couple more rewrites. Oh, we rewrites now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But you're right. If they would have just condensed the stories a little more and got probably cut, you know what he should have done when Winona Ryder dropped
Giving
out.
it to
He should've been like,
Scorsese.
no, what he should have done
Yes,
is,
that
but
would
see,
have made it
Scorsese,
better.
Scorsese wouldn't have made this movie. He never would have made this movie. Scorsese said the only reason why his mafia movies are so good is
Could've
because
put 'em
he's making
better.
what he's seen. He's seen that shit. Scorsese's never seen Michael Corleone type of thing. He's not hanging out in fucking $3 million fucking apartment buildings in West Side of Manhattan. He's hanging out at the fucking pool hall with Rob De Niro from Goodfellas. You know what I mean? That's what
Scorsese hasn't seen all that shit. He hasn't seen
he has.
gangs in New York. He was around in fucking
Oh, well, Gangs of New
1700s.
York, that's
Come on now.
imagination. That's imagination.
That's exactly.
There's a lot of reality to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
there
no,
is,
he
but
wasn't.
The
using his
sets on
imagination.
that. I
He
was
was- he
watching
wasn't
like a
cop.
behind the scenes on the sets that they built was just they rebuilt like to scale the 5 points, the original 5 points of that time, and 360 is that's cool. What are we talking about?
There's a cool video of it's Scorsese and it's called 3 different budget levels. He made a movie for 300,000, which was his first movie. He made Goodfellas for 20 million, and he made Gangs of New York for 100 million. And they compare the style of like the camera work he used and everything like that, of how like because he had this, he could do this differently. It's pretty interesting. It's cool.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of
Yeah.
money to play with.
Well,
Hundo.
he got $100 million because of Leo and Daniel Day-Lewis. They were like, yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna watch this fucking movie.
Yeah.
$50 million went to those two.
I know. I saw it in theaters. I remember.
Yeah.
I went. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good combo. I
Hell
like that.
yeah, dude. After Titanic, come on.
Yeah. That was the first Scorsese Leo collaboration.
And that was like my first realization of who like Daniel Day-Lewis really was. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this motherfucker can act.
Yeah.
Shit.
I had never seen My Left Foot, so that was probably the first time I saw him.
Yeah,
too.
because I think I
Oh,
went
really?
to I went to
That's
go
one of my
I went to
favorite
that
childhood
movie.
movies.
I went to move that movie for Leo, and I came out of it like that fucking Bill the Butcher guy. Fuck, that guy was the shit.
Yeah.
I don't even
For
remember
sure.
when I watched that movie,
And
but I
then
do remember.
Breaking Bad.
I remember having it on DVD, watching it, and just being like, "That's one of my favorite movies." I think I watched it first on DVD. I don't even think I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, that's one of the movies that really blew up on DVD. That and Fight Club are 2 pretty historic movies that DVD made like classics. Because Fight
Yeah.
Club, everyone kind of like in theaters, everyone was kind of like no one really went to see it because they really weren't sure what the fuck it was. And then it came out on DVD, and everybody was like, "Holy shit!" Like,
Yeah,
Blockbuster.
I think it was one of the first DVDs I bought was Fight Club. I think.
yeah.
Yeah, because you can go to
New York,
Blockbuster and rent it for $1.50.
Yeah. What about you, Jake? What are your last words on this fucking epic trilogy?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, where do we rank?
One was great. One was a great fucking movie. 2 was another great movie. I think the ending could have been more conclusive in number 2.
In what way?
And they in a way that they didn't have to make 3.
Yeah, it kind of left it open for like, all right, now what's gonna happen next? Like, oh, he killed his brother. That's kind of how it ended.
So, what would you have rather happen?
I don't know. I'm not gonna,
No, I'm curious to see like how would you have conclusively ended the second one? Like, you think you maybe like killed Michael in that one or something?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not really sure how to wrap that one up because I think killing Fredo was good. How does the second one end? With him killing Fredo, and then also
there's like a flashback. I have that.
Yeah, then there's a flashback of the day he announced he was going to join the war. And that was like,
and Connie gets introduced to somebody.
Yeah, Connie gets introduced to her future husband. So it's kind of like it was the last time he saw his family before the first movie started.
It's just tickling the balls of Godfather fans. That's all that movie was. They're just like, we need, like, what else do the fans want to see?
And I think
how about when he joins the Marines?
And that was probably part of the reason why they left it open ended, because it had that. We can leave it for a third, and then they were actually gonna make a fourth. I was saying that earlier, but Mario Puzo died, so we couldn't write it. And I guess it was gonna have the continuation of the De Niro storyline with De Niro and DiCaprio, and DiCaprio was gonna play Sonny.
Yeah,
that would have been dope. And then it was gonna also
Martin Scorsese.
The other side was gonna be Vincent in his rise, because he was essentially
Vincent Vega.
After. Well, no, it wasn't gonna be his fall. Corleone. It was gonna be their fall.
Oh, Vincent's fall. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was going to be showing Vincent again.
Because it said it was going to be Vincent when he's at like in a war with all the other families because he's hot-headed. Basically, if Sonny was the boss, he would be the boss. Okay. Hot-headed, and then it was going to show the flashback of older De Niro with young DiCaprio as son.
And that makes sense because it's kind of Sonny's story as well. With De Niro was going to play Sonny, and then Sonny's son is going to be. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So they were going to do that, but Mario Puzo died. He didn't write it. They were going to do it.
And Francis Coppola is loyal to the writers. I've read interviews with them. So Francis Coppola has adapted a bunch of books, including Apocalypse Now, Dracula, these movies, and he puts in his titles like Bram Stoker's Dracula and Mario Puzo's Godfather. Like he writes them, like he writes the script. Francis Coppola has like 3 Oscars for writing scripts, but he's like, yo, this is this dude's thing, and that I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I guess number 2, I don't think it was very necessary, but it was a great movie. Yeah, but if it was only number 1 and The Godfather was the only movie, fucking classic. Loved it.
Yeah.
It was 3.
I think 1 and 2 are, I think 1 and 2 are almost like Kill Bill 1 and 2 to me, where you can just make them one movie and then like that.
I could see that.
Because if you told me that I can go to the movies, see the entire first Godfather, and then like have an hour break and go in and watch the entire second one, I would be all for that.
I would like to see. I know there's an edit out there somewhere of like the chronological cut. I would kind of like to see that one day, even though it'd be like 9 hours. It'd be essentially watching like a full mini series,
it starts with
starts with De Niro.
Vito.
Yeah, starts with Vito,
or it starts with his mom, like him and his mom. Wow.
Yep. And then ends.
That'd be kind of cool. It'd be like watching Star Wars from beginning to end.
Right. It'd be an interesting take.
I wish I mean, one day I might. I want to watch the chronological cut of Star Wars.
Right.
I think that would be fun. I've done it before with just the original 3, though. Not the prequels.
So you've watched.
Also, I've thought about it.
So I just watched 3 Star Wars in a row.
I just watched the trilogy like we just did just now.
Yeah. I've also thought about that.
Back to back. One
Marvel's. Marvel's like Disney Plus has it like laid out for you if you want to do Marvel movies. That's cool.
Should we do every Marvel movie and talk about it?
Yep.
Nope.
All right, next week I'm making
Nope.
me watch movies.
Anthony quits.
No, we wouldn't do it to where we have to watch them all and then talk about them all in one podcast. We would do a podcast each movie.
But I don't like superhero
I would actually
movies.
be down for that. I would be down for that, honestly.
I don't like them.
All right, well, let's rank this. Where do you guys rank this?
I don't like them.
My rank. One update I was gonna do is I'm bumping Jeff who lives at home down.
Update. We got Jake's update.
Jeff who lives at home dropping some spots. It got kicked down to number 15.
Good for you.
And so, but now this makes the Godfather trilogy room for the top 10. I'm gonna put it at number 10.
Oh my.
Number 10.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Where did you drop Jeff Lives at Home from?
From like number 9.
Damn, you dropped it a lot. I agree with
Yeah,
that.
I thought about it.
Are better movies. I'm looking at your list.
I was looking at it and I'm like, it wasn't sitting well with me. It has some imperfections to it, and I dropped it below movies that I thought like there aren't a lot of imperfections in these other movies above it. Godfather would have gone a lot higher than 10 if it wasn't for number 3. It probably would have gone up by like number 6 or 7, but I'm going here. This is what I'm doing. Number 10. For old Jake.
Well, I couldn't put it under Lake Placid. And it's just all 3 of them, right?
All 3 of them, yeah. We're just gonna do the trilogy as one.
Yeah. You think you gotta do every trilogy as one?
Just making sure. Just checking.
So where are you putting it?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Jake's turn.
I thought Jake picked it. He said
I did number 10.
Where are you putting it, Schwartz?
I mean,
mine's gonna be lower than 10. I'll tell you that much.
Well, this is the thing. So, out of all the movies we've watched, when it comes down to it, this is number 1 for sure for me.
Cool.
It has to be. Like the sheer magnitude of these movies, the fact that it was a filmmaker at the age he made these movies, and the actors that were in them, and the impact it's had on cinema in general. This is number 1 for sure.
I like that choice.
Yeah, it's number 1.
I like how it shakes up your list. Deep Red's been sitting at your top since the fucking first episode, so it's kind of cool to see that kind of.
Well, there you go, Jake.
Number 1 anymore.
There you go.
Did that one for Jake. This one goes out to Jake.
Yeah, it's got to be number 1, at least for now. Yeah. Hey, if we watch There Will Be Blood for some reason, then that'll go above it.
50 episodes for a shift. Nice.
Yeah, There Will Be Blood will be at the top of mine. Let's watch There Will Be. You want to just all put number 1, There Will Be Blood?
That would be my number 1.
What an episode.
You know it would be a hard toss up now if we were to watch There Will Be Blood and Pulp Fiction. Then I would have a really hard time thinking what I put number 1, because There Will Be Blood is definitely my favorite movie of all time just because of how it impacted me. But Pulp Fiction is just like, come on.
What about Dust Till Dawn, dude?
A great movie, but it's not as good as Pulp Fiction or There Will Be Blood.
That would
go
go top of my list.
I mean, that'd be top 5 for sure. All right. Yes, I'm gonna put it in at number 1.
Number 1 for Schwartz. Number 10 for Jake.
How do I just skip down?
All right, I'll just do it for you.
All right.
I'm looking at my list here. Well, I mean,
out of 51 movies.
My first thought was number 12.
Okay.
What?
Jake asked me last time why Deep Red was my number 1 movie, and I'm looking at my list right now, which my top 3 are Godfather, Deep Red, and Sisters. Yeah. The only thing that all those 3 movies have in common to me is that they're directors who were kind of made their mark with those movies, and maybe that's why that's my list. Maybe that's just how I think when I think of movies. Is I think very director and shit like that. So maybe that's why.
Because you've also had a theme of picking like first movies by directors as well, so it's interesting.
And the thing is I like first movies. It says a lot about someone as an artist. Unfortunately, in my case.
Hey, your movie's sick, dude. I liked it. Jillian loved it. And she hasn't even seen the redo.
The
Redux.
Welcome Home Redux.
You still
Welcome
haven't
home.
let me watch it.
Redux.
Yeah. Anyway, keep
I
going.
have the Vimeo password. We'll do
going.
a screening.
No, don't watch that. That Vimeo's been taken down. New cuz.
That Vimeo done been taken
All
down.
right.
That video done been taken down.
That's okay, because I done been downloading everything I see. It's already streaming. I've already submitted it to film festivals. So
They
far,
have-
nothing.
Never mind. Anyway, yeah. Where are you ranking it, Anthony?
I was originally thinking 12. And then I was thinking, am I just doing that to be funny?
Why? What's
funny.
number 12?
You know what? That I could see that makes sense when me looking at your list right now. I could see it being 12 as a fair spot for you.
You know what's crazy about
Is
number
I don't
10?
know how to take that from your tone, Jake.
No,
Look,
because those
looking at that fucking list right there, anything goes.
you have a good list, and I kind of know your taste after all these movies, and it makes sense. That's why you would put it there.
Also, your number 10 to number
good list.
13 is probably the best movies on your list, but they're all bunched together right there. 10 to 13 are some amazing movies that we've watched, some of the best. So if you put it there, that would make sense to me too, because I think this fits in that category.
Hey, you have a good list.
You guys did talk shit on my list.
No, that's a good
I
list.
like it. It's a good list, man.
From like day 12. Well, then, I mean, 12.
I've
12
talked
is
shit
where-
on Schwartz's list.
12
My
is
list
my
is
gut. 12 is my gut. And then I was thinking 7. But then I was thinking, but it's so long. All of them. I
Right.
don't want to watch them again. 12. It's got to go 12. 12. And if I feel like if it was just 1 or 2, it would go higher.
Right.
But because we're averaging it out, because we're grading on a curve here,
I agree.
I'm going 12.
That third one had a lot of flaws. And we have a lot of good movies on our, and we've watched a lot of good movies.
We have watched a lot of good movies.
The movie that I'm glad we've watched the most is definitely Harold and Maude. That movie was incredible. I'm glad we got to watch that.
Well, speaking of
It was
lists,
a discovery. It was a pleasant surprise, that movie.
oh yeah, that's a great.
That
one.
movie was
As was Sunset Boulevard, at least for me. I saw Sunset Boulevard during quarantine. I was just like, damn, that is a fucking great movie.
I enjoyed Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah. To be fair, I saw both of them in school. Like I saw Sunset Boulevard for a film class. Harold and Maude I saw for like a sociology class. It was kind of like on a random.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but so it was a good, great fucking movie. But I have an overall ranking update since we're talking about our lists and shit. This is Schwartz hates it for whatever reason, but after 50 movies we've seen,
How do you rank?
Schwartz hates what he doesn't understand.
Can you explain the science behind you got to these rankings? Can I just
yes, 100%.
All
right, so based off of the rankings of each movie, so like if you look at Anthony's list, like you have Royal Tenenbaums at number 1. So Royal Tenenbaums gets 1 point, and then for you it gets 11 points is at number 11. For me, it got 9 points, so it gets that many points. And then like number 2, Indiana Jones, 2 points from Anthony, 3 points for Back to the Future from Anthony. And so each like ranking, you get a point by your ranking.
Mm-hmm.
And I total up the points. And so since the higher the ranking, the lower the number, it's like a lowest score gets a better ranking.
Okay.
Golf.
Kind of like golf.
No, I get it.
You've never played golf.
So I totaled everything up and I rank the movies based off of the score it has.
Okay.
So number 1, still The Handmaiden.
Still confusing.
Which it's a little weird. It's a weird.
Where
algorithm.
did you create this ranking system, or did you?
I created it, but it
makes
worked.
sense. It makes sense. He's just
we're
going by the
rating
number.
The best movies off of Jake's homemade rating. Let's just be sure.
He's averaging out at what we have scored the movie.
Essentially, yeah, I'm averaging ranks more or less.
He's averaging our ranks. He's not necessarily, but based on all three of us, these
where it falls based off.
These
of
are where it
ranking
falls. We
point
have our
system.
own ranking, and this is overall ranking.
And then I'll explain more because I think there's some interesting spots in this list.
Okay.
Like for example, like Creep and Boyhood got the same score. I feel like they're like the more polarizing movies.
That is interesting because I probably have it so low, and you have it at number 1.
Yeah. I have both of those movies very high. You have both those movies very low.
Okay.
Schwartz is just sort of middle low. But yeah,
I missed all that.
It's fine.
He's
missed everything.
He's
What
explaining. You got the explanation of how it works, right?
Yeah.
Now he's there. There's a couple movies that kind of that have the same score.
Yeah, and like I was saying, Creep and Boyhood was one of them that had the same score. But like you both prefer Creep over Boyhood, and so Creep gets the higher ranking.
Okay. So I'm looking at the overall list right now.
Yes.
Right. So number 1 is the Handmaiden, like I said. Number 2, the Harold and Maude, which we were just speaking about. Great film. Number 3 is The Royal Tenenbaums.
Number 4 surprises me.
Number 4, Back to the Future has been holding pretty high.
It's a great trilogy. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. It deserves to be there.
Yeah. I thought this is number 5, which I was sort of surprised by, was Prisoners.
You know why I'm not surprised by that? Because Denis Villeneuve's the fucking man, and
he is the man. Yeah. But it's like it wasn't ever like number 5 or higher on any of our lists. It's just barely in the top 10 with some of us.
Yeah.
Because it's relatively high with everyone, it wasn't a very like diversive like opinion, so it just was just overall high. And then same with like City of God. The Host is City of God's number 6, The Host number 7, Pan's Labyrinth number 8, Inside Man at number 9, and then Indiana Jones number 10.
Yeah,
that's our top 10. That's a pretty good top 10.
I mean,
here's a good one.
It's
Train to Busan's right under that at number 11. That's a fairly new one. One thing I saw what was pretty funny was a couple of new movies on here were MacGruber and Citizen Kane, and those ranked number 34 and 35 respectively, and which was so MacGruber is ranked 1 spot above Citizen Kane according
Why is that? System. Where are our? What do we have those ranked at?
MacGruber.
Mine's at number 38.
Yeah, it was 30 at the time of the ranking. It was 30, 38, and 32 for MacGruber. So relatively low.
Yeah.
Kind of middle low. But Citizen Kane, where did I have that? Citizen Kane was 26, 37, 40. So still all fairly close, but in total, MacGruber has the edge. If we're going
38, mine's 38, not 37.
Weird algorithm.
We just added one.
Yeah, because the list is shifted a little bit with the addition of the Godfather.
The Godfathers. Hey, Schwartz, do this. +1 equals.
Afangul.
No, it's Vafagul. Vafagul.
Yeah. Right. That was our new top 10. Some of the bottom ones are still the Bad Lieutenant is still at the bottom. Shoplifter's right under that.
Down by Law.
Yeah, those are actually our 3 bottoms. Like Bad Lieutenant at the very bottom is my worst. After that, Shoplifter's is Anthony's worst. Down by Law is Schwartz's worst. So it's kind of funny that those 3 landed all at the bottom right there.
I love how I have Lake Placid as my second to last movie. That movie was garbage.
Oh yeah, which ranked at number 45 out of 50. So
yeah, we like that better than Carnival of Souls.
Lake Placid was in the bottom 10.
That's better than Carnival of Souls, really?
Right around the area of Carnival of Souls was number 46.
It's right above.
Here's the thing: it's because I ranked it so fucking high.
Where did you
that the curve fucking makes it a little.
You
higher.
Put it at 24. What a weirdo!
Yeah, why is Carnival of Souls so high for you?
Weirdo. Anyway, good list. Good list.
That's our new update. I'll post this on Instagram when this episode comes out, I guess.
Frighteners right
don't
in the
do that.
middle.
I will, if I want to.
You don't have to do that.
We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be a story, maybe it'll post.
You don't have to do that.
I will say, we'll fucking see.
Don't do it. If anybody's watching this, don't look at that post.
Don't follow us on Instagram.
No, follow us on Instagram, but when you see that post, fucking boycott it. Nobody look at it.
Unfollow Schwartz. Unfollow the Beans one. And follow.
Please unfollow us on Instagrams. All Instagrams. Don't look at them.
Yeah, there it is. Godfather, part 1, part 2, part 3. I hope I didn't offend any Italians or Italian Americans.
I hope I didn't offend any Native Americans either. It was an honest mistake. Seriously, I'm not now.
I think I chose my words wisely on this one.
You shut the fuck up. Avafangu.